You're listening to the Nostalgia X podcast with your host, DJ Doom and J-Beth.
All right, what's up, everybody? This is episode 7. That's 7, if you're lame. And we got our first special guest here, Kato.
Learn how to spell it, too.
right.
Let them know how to spell it.
K-T-O-E. You can put an apostrophe in there if you want, or you can hyphenate it, get fancy.
If you're bougie about that.
Right. But no, we got a lot of fun for you guys this episode. It's crazy, 7 episodes already. So we've been doing this for a little longer than a month. This is almost 2 months worth of Team Nostalgia X.
Yeah, it does sound like it's been 2 months.
Yeah,
now.
we've officially hit over 200 downloads, which is super awesome. We haven't really been doing any marketing yet. I threw a couple posts on Facebook, but it's all word of mouth. So
Yeah, it's a good thing by word of mouth because word of mouth then carries on to other bigger and better
go ahead,
things.
Kato, you got a joke.
He's laughing over here. I don't even want to hear this joke. His jokes are like really bad and always at me.
You said word of mouth again. I see it. Light bulb.
Exactly.
What's actually the market? What are we marketing here?
Marketing a podcast.
Yeah, just the podcast itself.
How much fun we have and we remember things and actually people relate to us.
Now, Kato, I don't know if you've listened to any podcasts before. I don't think you have, but with podcasts, kind of like radio, there's a lot of once the podcasters get bigger, they actually can get advertising, and then the ads you can throw regular little ads, and they'll just jump all over your podcast, and it kind of cuts out of what you're saying, or you can do what I would prefer to do once we get to that point, and it's read the ads yourself. So we'd get Kato on the mic to promote some razors or something. Go ahead and promote a razor for us real quick.
Hey,
Dollar Men's Shave Club. We'll say that.
Yeah, you could buy a Dollar Shave Club and only shave half your face. Because
You see that voice he just went into? Perfection.
you're going to have to buy the rest with Band-Aids.
Oh my gosh.
Who buys a dollar razor? You only want half a face shaved, I guess.
What
And the
do
other
you
side,
expect? You paid $1, right?
Exactly. You can look around like the mummy or something, right?
Jeez.
Yeah, the Dollar Club. Go ahead. Go ahead. Join the Dollar Club. They probably buy it at the Dollar General
If you go
store
to the
anyway.
dollar store, I've never seen razors there. So
haven't.
the Dollar Men's Shave Club or whatever the name of that thing is, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't care about the reviews. I want to have a good shave whenever.
Right.
I think the sharpest thing at the dollar store is the shopping cart. So, they're kid friendly. Very kid friendly.
So we've had a lot of crazy stuff happen, especially me, I guess, in terms of my Kentucky experience.
Oh my gosh!
I won't
felt
say any
so bad
names.
once when
I won't
heard
say any
that.
names, but we got to talk about that.
We have
but,
to.
Before I go into that, what have y'all been up to in the past week? Obviously, about a week ago, we planned to have J-Bat Senior,
Oh yeah.
Kato on the episode. So I'm glad we were able to make it happen.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm more than happy. I want to thank you guys for inviting me to this, being your first guest appearance.
Absolutely.
And I did make a lot of requests, coming into this because it is my first, so I figured I'd go
This
ahead.
won't be your last. This is just the first one,
And that's good.
It's going to be even better next time.
Because
So
I think I'm a good marketing tool. So, but
You have a great voice.
yeah, the green room. I have to say this: the green room that you guys have is really great. I haven't been there yet,
Oh my gosh.
but I do know there's a dollar back near the bathroom area. If you want to pick that up, that's fine.
How did I know?
Is
he
it
was
on a
gonna mention
fishing
the
pole?
green room?
Is it on a fishing pole? Like, almost got it, buddy.
Nope. You gotta go bend over and grab it with your hand.
You got to bend over and grab it. You know?
You know, he did. He pulled that joke on me once. Well, he still does it anyway. And
So
he goes, hey, I dropped a $5 bill. I left it
$5
there for you.
bill, $5
Yeah.
bill.
I was like, $5? No way. I ran over. I was like, man, it stinks in here. He got me once. And then all of a sudden he did that to my son. Oh my gosh.
There's nothing in here. What?
My son.
Oh my god! Did something die?
Yes. It was the funniest thing. Because right when my dad told my son that, he goes, $10. Oh man, I can get me something. I can get me a figure. I was like, yeah, you can get you a figure, all right.
I'd be disfigured.
Yes,
His
big
face.
time.
So,
But no, we'll start with you, Kato. How's your week been?
week's been pretty interesting. Been sick.
Oh, the little bug that was going around, right?
Yeah, it was a stomach bug, and I just couldn't believe how I don't like Hershey's Kisses anymore.
Like you're done, never again.
Yeah, no Hershey's Kisses for me. Just
Jeez.
reminds me of something, you know.
Oh god.
Gosh.
I haven't had a Hershey's Kisses in a while, believe it or not.
I
But
haven't either.
I had a
That
lot
sucks
yesterday.
to let 'em
last
go.
week.
Ooh.
I had a lot last week.
Ay, Dios mío.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, it was, but yeah, the week wasn't that bad. I enjoyed it. I was kind of looking forward to coming here anyway. So I had my hopes up.
Yeah.
He was planning to put some stuff in. He's like, I got some stuff planned. I was like, oh boy, this is
yeah.
going to be interesting.
I when people say I've got a book to write, I think I got back in the day, I got an encyclopedia I could write. You know.
Oh yeah. Well, I love stories. That's one of the big things we do here. So, we'll definitely have you again very soon, and then we can collaborate and put some stuff together for that episode. So.
Oh yeah, I'll come again because I'm cheap.
Cherry Coke, just a little cherry Coke and a hug.
Jerry Coke and some kisses. Send them my way, folks. That's all I'm asking. Send them my way. That don't matter.
So, J-Pat, what about you, man?
Finished my first week of work.
Right,
That was awesome. It was interesting, but fun.
right.
Of course, I did get the bug as well.
Yeah,
That was a pain
took
in
you
the
out
butt.
for like what 24 hours?
Yeah. And the worst thing was it was on 4th of July.
Dang,
So I was like, this stinks.
I didn't realize that.
It was at the fireworks that just exploded.
Yeah, I had an explosion somewhere else, but
Oh gosh,
it was bad. But
Happy
yeah, it was-
New Happy
was,
New Pants.
terrible. But it was my week was fun. Had a blast.
Getting home around what time do you get home from work
It depends.
on a regular day?
Regular day, I would say probably around 4:15, 4:30.
So that's not bad. I mean,
Beats the traffic too. So.
yeah. So that's good, man. Really good stuff.
How was your week?
So me,
Yeah, definitely. We need to
So-
know how your week was.
So me, I was playing that game called Hero Clicks competitively. I went out to Kentucky, and I won't say any names, but for those of my buddies that play with me, that listen, they'll probably get a nice little belly laugh out of this. But things didn't exactly go my way. I didn't play as well as I should have, but around round 2 of the 5-round tournament, there was a little incident that happened. Basically, time was called at the end of the round, and we were supposed to have another round. Judge didn't exactly see it that way. They, ruled it a different way. So I felt I was cheated out of a round. So I told them I wanted to appeal that. They told me to appeal it. I had to message this one gentleman, and I thought it was a little janky. It's like, do I just message this guy on Facebook Messenger. This is very janky. Like, and no one really could tell me what to do. So I just was like, you know what? I know the guy's friends of mine on Facebook, so I'll just message him on Facebook Messenger. He responded pretty quickly, but his response was more or less, hey, I already spoke to the head judge there, and he told me that everybody was cool with the ruling. And I was like, that's definitely not true, because that's why I'm messaging you. I don't agree with the ruling. And so I guess he called the head judge again, but it didn't matter. The tournament had to go on, so I was just like, screw it. I was so frustrated, I felt like dropping from the tournament, because one loss can, to some extent, screw you up. So I didn't really want to play at that point because of the way I was treated, but I rode with somebody, and Kentucky's not exactly just an hour away. So I'm like, what am I going to do? We're kind of in the middle of nowhere too, so I didn't have much confidence in getting a rental car, anything like that. So I'm like, I just got to stick it out, man. I mean, this is a 5-rounder. This is only round 2. We're going to at least be here for another 3 hours. I'm like, I'll just keep playing, even though I don't want to play anymore for what happened. So I stuck it out, and then at the end of round 5, so at the end of the tournament, the head judge approaches me again. At this point, he's kind of like harassing me because he's yelling. He's calling me a liar. I'm like, what am I lying about, dude? I'll show you everything I messaged the co-director of the tournaments or the organization that holds the tournaments. I'll show you everything I messaged him. I'm not lying about anything. And the guy decides to make a show out of it. He like yells at the top of his lungs, basically saying, yes or no, did this happen? And like, I literally look around the room. Everyone's like, Jesus Christ, what's going on? And everyone already knew because of what happened at the end of round 2. And they were all wondering why he came back up to me. Because at this point, 3 more rounds of HeroClix was played. Why is this gentleman, DJ, why is DJ Ndu being approached again about this? Like, we already squashed it. We've moved on. Regardless of if it was ruled right or wrong, we've moved on. But he decided to approach me again. Things got out of hand again. I was like, dude, you can say what you want to say. I'm not going to answer your question because I'm over it. And you ruled it wrong. But I just want to move past this. I'm over it. You already screwed up the day for me. There's no going back. Like, the tournament went on. Once that next round starts, it's gone. Like, what are you going to do? Press rewind? That's like in sports where they rule something the wrong way. And then once the rule's in play and the next play goes, it's over. You can't just go back and say, oh, we're going to give you these 6 points. No, that never happens. So I hate when they rule something wrong and then like a week later you hear on like ESPN or something, the judges have come back and said that after review, they do state that they ruled it wrong. Like, okay, what does that mean? Like, a little too late there, buddy. Just do
late,
better.
$1 short.
Do better next time. So, the thing that PO'd me the most out of everything, there were 2 things that happened towards the end. So one was a teammate of this head judge that actually played in the tournament came up to me and asked me, hey, I know that you're frustrated about what happened, but do you really feel it would have made a difference? Like, do you really feel that if they would have let you play the extra round like you were supposed to, and let's say you won that round, would have really made a difference? Or would you have just played as shitty as you did type thing? And I'm like, is this dude really asking me this right now? Because my answer to him was, yeah, it would have made a difference. And quite frankly, if you were put in my situation and you were treated the way I was treated, I don't think you would have been in the right mindset, just like I was playing in the rest of the tournament. Quite frankly, I tried to drop. I didn't care, but guess what? I didn't drop because what the hell was I going to do for 3+ hours in Kentucky?
Wow.
What was I going to do? So like that really, like, I thought he was trying to come to me like almost like as a friend, like, hey, I'm feeling for you, man. This and that. Instead, the dude tried to like check me on my skills. Like, dude, more or less he was saying, you sucked today, so why sit there? Excuse me, why sit there and be frustrated when you suck? That's sort of what he was trying to say. So that really PO'd me. But then after that, when regardless of how you finish, if you finish last, if you finish first, they give everyone prizes at the end, like almost like participation prizes, you know. But the better you do, the better stuff you get. So I got some prizes, even though I didn't do great. And when I went to get those, head judge, like, to some extent tried to say, oh, I apologize for how everything transpired, but, you know, I still think I ruled it the right way. And I'm like, dude, I felt like throwing the dice at him because I got like a dice and 2 little tokens, like garbage, dude. But I was being a team player. So I took my prizes and I was like, and I just walked off. I was like, I'm over it, bro. Like, why are you still talking about it, dude? So it is what it is. But yeah, it was something to laugh about at the end of the day. We had a little dinner afterwards. And, you know, our close friend here that runs the shop.
Definitely.
Like I said, I'm not saying any names. But he contacted me a few days later. And he said, hey, I waited a few days to make sure, you know, things cooled off and you were good. But I just want to check on you, you know, tell me what happened. He got my point of view from it. And he said that he would have ruled it differently. And he said, you know, he was going to look into maybe, you know, putting things in place so that wouldn't happen again. And that made me feel good. It made me feel like someone actually cared and that hopefully no one ever has to go through what I did again. Because it wasn't a good experience. I don't plan on going to play there at that venue ever again. And that was probably my 4th time at the venue. So it's not like, you know, there's some people that have never gone to an event with me. So because of the way that individual did it, run it, or, you know, went about that, there's people that they probably got a first impression of me like, this Puerto Rican crazy. But I wasn't the one yelling. I wasn't the one doing any of that. You know what I'm saying? But this guy, you know, probably got a first impression, you know, gave people a first impression of me that's like, oh, you know, DJ Doom likes to start problems when he goes to other venues. And I've let people know since then. I'm like, hey, this isn't me. You can ask all of my former team members and they'll tell you that type of stuff's never happened before. So, but it was a little embarrassing, but putting my pride aside, I wanted it to be fixed because I think it was a ruling thing. The rule, based on what happened, there was a rule that's not being played properly by a majority of players. And he tried to emphasize that rule out of nowhere. And really what he tried to throw at me and make his ruling based off of had nothing to do with what the problem actually was. So he kept asking me, did this or this not happen? And it had nothing to do with what the issue actually was. The issue was new round had started based off the player stating, hey, that's it for me. You know, your go. So new round should start. He tried to say, well, he still had, there's these tokens that you put on your characters to mark that they've done something that turn. He hadn't taken them all off yet. So the judge ruled it as, oh, if he still had a token on one of his figures, then your turn officially hasn't started. And I was like, dude, you can watch any game. Like, just pick one. I'm not going to pick it for you. You could pick any game going on for the remainder of this tournament, and I guarantee you there's going to be multiple players saying, all right, that's it for me, and they have not cleared all their tokens off their figures because no one really plays like that. So the guy that called me, that I said he's one of the higher-ups in the organization running the tournaments, he even stated that he does it like that too, where he'll be like, all right, that's it for me, your go. And he may still have a few tokens to take off. So it is what it is. But I just hope that it gets fixed so other people don't have to go through that too. But it was a pain in the butt. It was an interesting weekend. And, you know, now it's something to joke about, another story.
That last round, though.
Yeah. But,
I think someone's going to be listening to this and like, I remember that.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So is therapy working for you?
Talking about it amongst the three of us, yes. I feel much better now.
Go ahead and emote. Go ahead and emote.
But yeah, so very interesting weekend. From there, like I said, we got a lot of fun stuff for today's podcast. One of the things we're going to talk about, since we have the pleasure of having Kato here with us, he's got a lot of stories. So hopefully we can get some of those this evening. Let's start with your fondest memory as far as fanboying. Like, what's something that you grew up on, maybe, or something you're a big fan of that maybe from being a kid that you remember. Like for me, I remember watching Power Rangers as a kid and recreating scenes in the playground, at least thinking you look cool, but really you don't. So stuff like that. Like, what's your fondest memory of like being a geek? I guess a fandom. Something that you were really into.
Okay, well, since this is nostalgia,
Yeah.
we didn't have cable back then. We
Really?
didn't. Yeah, we had an antenna that.
Where were you living at when?
I originally from California.
Okay.
And we had an antenna that if you wanted, like say for instance, a station in San Francisco, you'd have to orient, no pun intended, the antenna toward San Francisco. Okay. Sometimes you'd catch the channel, sometimes you couldn't. But I tried to stay up on everything, and there was really no, anything that I can fanboy on. It was just what I can watch on TV. I'm going to watch because
Right.
we didn't get, I didn't, we didn't watch TV a lot. We got outside because my I'd have to say my parents were very strict. We live near a light pole, and everybody goes by this rule. If the light pole, when the light comes on the light pole, you better be in.
Get your butt home.
Yeah, you better be inside the door, not in the yard, in the door. So it's basically we had a lot of. I had a lot of time outside. Now, the geekiness on me in that part was probably taking a lot of stuff apart in my dad's garage.
Okay.
So the geeky part of me was just taking stuff apart.
Just seeing how it was put
Yeah,
together.
see how it
and
worked and everything else. I said, in my mind. And I digress on this one. One of the shows that my parents always would watch was a show called Land of the Giants.
Okay.
Where this family had been transported to this land where, there's humans, but they're like they're Lilliputians when they're doing everything. So I would think, man, if I was small, I would do this with everything. So that's what got me to start taking apart stuff in my dad's garage. I would start unscrewing something, see, well, what is this thing? And then I wouldn't know how to put it back. And my dad would ask me, "Who took this apart?" Yeah, I tried.
What was the main thing that you took apart?
Anything my dad would bring home.
Like what? What would Grandpa bring home?
He brought home a lot of stuff because he worked at the post office. So anything that he had there, he'd bring it home, and sometimes it was not safe.
Oh,
So I took it apart anyway.
gosh.
So, but and I tried to put it back, but then when he'd go to use it, it wouldn't work.
Missing components. You're like, I got
Yeah,
some extra
like-
pieces.
Yeah, it's like, what does this one do? Oh, I didn't know it plugged in. So it's stuff like that. I mean, it was pretty. I was pretty. I don't back then. I guess mechanically inclined to take apart, to
Yeah.
deconstruct. I guess that's what it is. I deconstructed a lot of stuff, but that was about it. The shows. What there wasn't a lot of techie shows on. Just basically your SWAT, the old one, not the rebooted one. I'd watch that on TV, and of course Green Hornet and Batman and stuff like that. But everything like that was was seen in increments.
Gotcha.
I was regulated because we didn't like I said, we didn't stay inside the house.
Now, what was the main reason why you liked Green Hornet? Not because of, of course, I know you're a Bruce Lee fan, but what brought you
That
liking
might be
Green Hornet?
that might be it. The relation, right? Like somewhat of just like, because I mean, I know me being Hispanic, if I see a show, or like in this case, we love talking about superheroes and
yeah.
comics and stuff. The new, dang, I just drew a blank here. The new Ghost Rider, Robbie Reyes. He's Hispanic, so I'm like, I'm not a. I like Ghost Rider.
He's Mexican.
I like
Robbie Lowrider. What?
Robbie Lowrider Reyes.
But it's really funny whenever he turns into the Ghost Rider.
He's got a car.
He has a car instead of a bike.
Yeah, yeah.
His car.
Is it a '63 Impala?
It might be actually. It's like a
think
hot
so.
rod. It's a hot rod. I
I
think.
didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah. So they did that. Miles Morales, he's the newer Spider-Man, which they're actually doing a animated. It looks semi-realistic
Spider-Verse.
in like October or November, and he's half Puerto Rican. So like these characters, just because they threw a Hispanic twist on them, I'm immediately wanting to at least take a look at them. You know.
You're drawn to it.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. I know that with the Green Hornet, you had that martial arts aspect.
Yeah, well,
and that was just
He
awesome.
was
anyway,
he was like the only Asian guy you would know, other than the guy who was on a cooking show. You know,
who was that guy?
Ming Hua or whatever. I can't like a guy who cooks.
Yeah, that was
That's
not.
my hero. Oh, look how he cuts that one. You know, and then the Ginsu knife. Oh, that's a Chinese guy with a Ginsu knife. I thought that was Japanese. So I he was like the only, I guess, Asian standout that.
that as a male, you can be
Yeah,
like,
you can-
it's cool to like them. Yeah,
It was cool because everybody else had their heroes back then. You
Yeah.
know.
yeah.
Well, I always thought you liked Green Hornet because of the tech stuff that Green Hornet had.
Well, he did. You know his car. Do you know what his car's name was? Oh, you got to be kidding me!
Go ahead.
You know what the name of his car is?
I'm drawing a blank. If it was a multiple choice question,
To A, B, or C.
Holy cow!
that was a little before my time. Okay.
Do you know what? Do you know what?
I'm drawing a blank. I remember you said it every time whenever we watched
Oh
an
my gosh.
episode.
Okay,
Because I remember whenever they turned in, whenever Kato was getting the car and everything else, he goes, "Oh, it's the so-and-so." I was like, "Oh, I need to catch hold of that because I love the name of it."
yeah. I mean, the car's name was Black Beauty.
Yeah.
Okay.
There
Okay,
it is.
Black Beauty, and and the neat thing was when they would get the car ready, it would be clamped on to the bottom, and they would rotate the car to where Black Beauty would show, and and the way they filmed it, if it was dark, you couldn't see anything. If it was dark, so what they did, they put a heavy filter on it to make it look dark, but you knew when you see shadows, it's bright outside.
Right.
So darkness never came. It was always filmed in the light. But they had a lot of neat stuff in that car. I think in the episode with when they had it kind of was the Batman offshoot of that. They had a lot of their tech stuff come out at that time, which was cool. But I liked it because Bruce Lee, he was cool, and
Just a little bit.
yeah. I know the guy he's pretty good.
He practically gave it more kick.
Yeah.
No pun intended. Like seriously.
Pun intended.
Because I remember Dad said that.
Slow down here.
Yeah, I know.
I can't take this speed you're going at, man. Jeez. Holy, you're running over me.
Well, I remember Dad telling me that Kato was just supposed to be this calm, collective driver for the Green Hornet that takes him here and there, but Bruce Lee wanted to amp up that character and
Yeah.
pull in the martial artists and
I'm sure their viewers spiked
Oh,
once
yeah, definitely.
They added that in there.
Did he ever tell you that one story about when we went to Dragon Con?
He's told me a few Dragon Con
I was
stories,
saving,
but probably
I was
not this
saving
one.
this because he's good at telling it.
Oh, this is a good one.
This is his highlight of Dragon Con.
Yeah,
for him.
and this is what got me. Buddy of mine, we both decided, he's a good friend of ours. We decided, let's go to Dragon Con. I said, okay, so what do you want to dress up as? I said, well, Batman and Robin's taken.
Right.
So,
I brought up this idea too, by the
yeah,
way.
and so and Joel said, he said,
Was your buddy Caucasian, by the way?
well, of course.
We're only in Alabama.
Shoot, yeah. I had to convince him to take his suspenders off, though.
Oh gosh.
But anyway, and we decided, do the Green Hornet and Kato. So we did it. I mean, we got it down. Everything was pretty much picture perfect. The mask was a replica that I got, and then I researched it on what he was. Now, back then, theoretically, Kato was supposed to be the housekeeper. He did everything, cooked for him and everything else. So in the research, the Kato wore a black, like a chef's outfit, with of course the driver's chauffeur hat,
Right.
and everything else was black. And so so I tried to keep true to that nature, and we did. We about knocked it out of the park. The only bad thing I got to say is this: nobody took pictures. But we went all over the place. And when we went in there, they had a section there where with all the Green Hornet and Kato. So we go in there. We're walking. Okay, everybody's stopping us. We're trying to get to this point to where all the other ones are at because they wanted a group photo.
So for the record, y'all didn't take pictures, but people were definitely asking for pictures with y'all.
Yeah, and it was awesome. Of course, my counterpart who played Green Hornet, he had his little stun gun. He'd just stand there like,
He never played the part.
okay.
Let's just put it
He'd
like
stand
that.
there like a statue. Okay, like, okay. Of course, your image of Bruce Lee, he would be up in character with his hands up, getting ready to kick. So, and that's what I would do. And I'm thinking, dude, help a brother out here. Do something, So, then everybody started gravitating toward me because I was,
You were in character.
I was in character. I was the character. And then I looked over and saw another Green Hornet.
I think I know where this is going.
I didn't know Green Hornet had a beard and was about a good 250. He was about as tall as he was wide.
Green Hammer.
He was something. He was like that something green and globulous.
Green
walking
biscuit.
around. The only thing he had right was the mask. I'm like, dude, that will not cut it.
Was he in character though? I don't
know.
guess
He was
it's
busy eating. I don't know. He didn't have a Kato, so
He had the cake though.
he made a Veda. Yeah, that was good. But and then somebody had came around us, and we he was running around. I'm like, who are you? And he goes, hey, somebody wants to see you guys. I said, okay. So we went downstairs, and where we were at was in on the top of the Marriott, and all the writers and artists block for comic books was downstairs. So we had to make our way down there. Of course, getting down there was another feat because people want to take pictures. So we're trying to get down there and everything else. And so we finally get down there, and we meet the guy. He goes, the guy looked at us and said, oh my gosh, you've got to be kidding me. I said, this is like the movies. And that's, we did it just like it was. His overcoat was green. I mean, it looked sharp. He dressed the part. And of course, I had everything on. He looked at us, and he was the writer for the new Green Hornet and Kato.
Oh.
And so what he did, he goes, hey, look, I'm writing this. And he goes, did you know, on the original storyline, that Kato was a Filipino servant? Yep. I said, you're kidding. He goes, no, because Kato has to leave to the Philippines, and Kato sends in his place his daughter, who takes his place. And now she's the new Kato. So it was pretty interesting. He thought it was really neat. We got to have a picture with him. He goes, man, I'm keeping this thing. He goes, you guys look the best. So I thought, with that, I was waiting for a free comic, but he didn't give it to me.
All that's like, thanks guys.
I know. I was rubbing on him.
Y'all
and
have
everything.
a good Dragon Con now.
Yeah,
Did
really.
you get his name?
No,
Dadgummit. If you got his name, you could probably
no,
get his
but
graphic
he
novel.
showed us the comic. The pictures. He's a really good artist. He says he's got a good storyline to it. Where already, when he flies back to the Philippines, he brings his daughter over here. She's already in trouble, and it sounded like a really good thing. But I haven't seen it yet. I think it was on an independent comic book. But
What year Dragon Con was this?
Oh gosh,
That was 05.
Okay.
yeah, back then.
Okay. So I mean, this is definitely
was
out on the
13
street
years
somewhere.
ago.
We just got to find it.
Yeah, it is. It is on the street.
I found the. I think I have a picture of when he was with the artist. So, I mean, we can look up like the archives of the website and just look it up.
There's probably pictures of Kato
Yeah, and I can sign it for you if you
online
want.
somewhere. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm marketing
The
now.
real Kato here.
I am marketing.
You can say you're like partial inspiration for the comic.
Yeah. why
Yeah.
not?
All right. So from there, we are going to go into, I think we should hit on the funny story. So
I thought that was funny.
No. Funny story where keeping it funny goes wrong. That's what we're going to call it.
Oh,
Yeah. So I can start with mine and then Kato and J-Bat if y'all want to hit on y'all's. But so we're goofballs, especially Kato. It sounds like he's been a goofball since before me and J-Bat even hit the earth.
yeah. Just hearing stories about him and his brothers, how much they pulled pranks on each other, it was the worst. My dad was like, he was the master of all pranks to his brothers. It was funny.
We got to eventually hear some of these stories.
Back in WWII. So.
But I want to go into funny stories. Just sometimes being a goofball can go the wrong way for you. So recently, here's one of mine. Recently, we have a couple flights of stairs in our place here.
I know where this is going.
And J-Bat knows I'm a little goofball, especially with my 2 kids and my girlfriend. So I want to say it was probably like, it was actually kind of early. It was probably like 10 a.m. And I was hanging out with little man, my son, and we were going down the stairs. He went ahead in front of me. So he was probably already down all the stairs before I even went down the first flight. Well, let's just say when I went down the first flight, I went down the first flight. Like I went, whoop, whoop, and I hit my back on the stairs, and I'm just like, oh, pain. So I mean, you could hear it. I'm a grown man hitting the stairs, so you hear like boom, boom, boom. And there's all kinds of emotions going through my mind. I'm embarrassed. Oh, my pride is just out the window. I'm in pain because I just hit myself on the stairs. And I'm like, I'm scared I might have broken something. So I just lay there in a little ball like,
Ouch.
just wait a second to see, okay, how bad. Let me assess the damages like you just got in a car wreck or something. Like, let me see. My son's like, obviously, like I said, I joke around a lot. So my son's like, Dad, stop playing around. And I'm like, I'm not playing. I just, and then girlfriend pops out, what the hell was that? Like, and she thinks I'm playing too. I'm like, I'm in pain over here. She's like, what's going on? What was that? And then when she sees that I'm like not playing, she starts freaking out. She gets all worried and stuff. And I'm like, I just fell down the stairs. Like, I'm not joking. Like, I really am hurting. So it was really bad. But me being a little goofball, she thought I was messing around. My son, definitely, that's so funny. He's over here thinking I'm playing a game. He didn't see me falling at all. Like I said, he beat me down the stairs. He's probably going on and starting to turn the TV on, doing his thing. And boom, I slip and I'm in a little ball, fetal position, praying that I didn't break nothing. I didn't break anything. I was a little sore for a few days, my back, because like when I fell down the stairs, my back hit the stairs themselves. But they're carpeted stairs, but still, there's something hard under there. I don't know if it's wood or what,
wood.
but I was like, bam. So I kind of landed a WWE finishing move on myself.
Ouch.
Yeah, it was, but yeah. So that's my funny story. That recently happened. That was just like 2 months ago.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm good now. I'm definitely good now. But that was
Yeah, the chiropractor helped you out.
yeah.
So how was that soccer game? Okay, that feels better.
Yeah. Yeah, you weren't here last week, but I talked about my going to see a chiropractor, and I don't know if have you ever had an adjustment like on your back done by a chiropractor?
That's another story I don't want to share.
One for another day. But the couple times I've been, they don't want you to tense up, so the couple times I've been, he starts asking me questions, and then I'm over here thinking like, oh, he wants to hear about this. Start talking. Next thing you know, grabs whatever part he's adjusting and just, and you're just like, that I've never heard that sound come out of my body before. It sounded like, it would have been perfect if someone recorded that little sound clip of my neck getting adjusted for like a movie of someone, his neck getting broken, because that's exactly what it sounded like. Like it would have been perfect, like Hollywood certified sound effects. Because I was just like, oh my God. Oh, you really needed that. Crazy.
How could you not tense up after that?
I know. He just does it so fast, though.
Really?
He does it so fast. It's just like, I'm just like, eee. And then, he just gets right into it. Like, okay, all right, lift your leg here. All right, where else are you hurting? Your shoulder? Okay, bend this way. But once he's done, you feel like, they've shaved a couple years off your back and your shoulders and stuff. So, guy knows what he's doing. The guy I went to see, he worked with the Atlanta Falcons for a little bit, and that's what originally made me want to go there, because I was like, this guy worked with professional athletes. Like, he's got to know what he's doing. So he's good.
They haven't won a Super Bowl yet.
He ain't that good, right?
Well, they built a what? How much was that stadium?
Oh yeah, which we gotta totally
Called
go.
the Halo. They have that big old Halo.
That's
that
not
has
where
all
the
those
Atlanta
screens.
soccer team plays, is it?
I don't know, but that'd be cool if they did play there.
I want to go.
I want to go too. Yeah, we're DJ
We
Doom and I were talking
should
about.
bring Cato.
Yeah, we should. We need to go see a soccer game.
So I've been getting J-Bat, your son, into soccer. Obviously, the U.S. isn't the greatest at soccer, but
And the FIFA World Cup.
We got
Loving the
right.
FIFA World Cup, by
We
the way.
got MLS, Major League Soccer, and we have a team in Atlanta, which is just a few hours away. His new favorite player. You want to talk about your new favorite player real quick?
My new favorite player is named Zlatan.
Oh yeah,
Love the dude. The dude's he's
very-
cocky.
Wait, what's his name?
Zlatan.
Ibrahimovic.
Yeah, Ibrahimovic. He is Sweden.
He's Swedish, yeah, and he's a little older now, so he's not playing internationally. He didn't play for the World Cup, but Visa sponsored him and paid for his trip to go to the World Cup so he can enjoy it as a fan. But he's super good. He's playing for LA Galaxy, so LA's got two soccer teams. He's playing for the one that's been there for quite some time, and his first game in the MLS, the team was down.
It was 2-0.
Yeah, they were down 0-2. And he comes in within a few minutes, scores a crazy goal almost from half, like midfield, almost. Made the goalie look foolish.
Yeah.
So that made the game 1-2. Later in the game, a few minutes after that, gets a cross from one of the other players. He heads it in, ties the game. Then I think they go into overtime, and he makes a no.
They went the full 90 minutes. The first goal was a header from one of his team members. The second goal was his first goal from midfield.
Right.
The third goal was from another.
No, he made two goals.
Yeah, but the fourth one was the last goal he did, because he did 2 goals. The second one was the header he did. The third one was when he did his other team member scored that goal.
Gotcha.
They made it, and they won 4-3.
Yeah. But it was crazy. And he checks in like he didn't start the game because this was his first game. So in soccer, you can have some of your best players, if not your best player, coming off the bench because in soccer, you only get 2 subs, even if there's an injury. It's like in the World Cup, I was actually watching Croatia play Russia today, and I think it was Croatia's goalie. He got injured, hamstring injury, where, you know, a lot of soccer players, they fall down and they're like, oh, my God, you know.
Pull a Neymar.
Right. But he was seriously injured, like something was going on with his hamstring. So they were worried they had to take him out, and they didn't have any subs. So if you don't have any subs, it doesn't matter how bad your injury is. Once you use your 2 subs, it's done. But the game ended up going into overtime. So once it crosses into overtime, they give you an extra sub. So you can have one more sub. But they didn't want to exactly use it on their goalie because that was their starting goalie. Like the backup goalie's usually, you know.
That's why he's back there.
Right. And backup goalies usually don't play. So you just get someone that's good, but definitely not your best guy. And he might not ever play. You might use him in like scrimmage games. So you have a goalie on both nets or something, practice, you know. But that guy normally doesn't see play. So the fact that this game went into overtime, the possibility of penalty kicks, they didn't want to have to sub their goalie. And then that guy let him down because he hasn't played the whole World Cup, you know. So they wanted to do everything they could to keep this guy. A little after the whole hamstring, he was able to stay in. They had the trainer out there, stretched him out a little bit, let him run in place, and he was able to get back in. One of the other players goes down with an injury. They obviously don't want to sub him in. They got a goalie that might go down. So now they're in a real pickle. So they got that player that was slightly injured to basically sit out for a few minutes, let the trainer work on him because the game had to go on. And they played one man down for a few minutes, which is very dangerous considering the game is in overtime. And if the other team scores, you might get eliminated because this is single elimination now. So they played a few minutes, one man down. Then that guy came back in. He was okay. The game ended up going into penalty kicks because Russia got ahead. Keep in mind the World Cup is in Russia, so they got the majority of the fans behind them in the stadium. But Croatia, one of the Russian players, in soccer you're not supposed to touch the ball with your hand. Not only does that include your hand, but that also includes like your elbow down. This guy, he was a defender. The Croatian player was about to get around him, so he pokes his elbow out to stop the ball. And they call handball, which is a drop ball, or not a drop ball, but it's like a spot foul. So basically, wherever that handball happens, the referee puts the ball in that spot, and they get a free kick from that spot. So it was right outside the box.
Oh.
Croatian player kicks it right to one of his teammates. Guy heads it in, and the game is tied again. It was craziness. So it goes to penalty kicks, and Croatia was able to pull it out. My little brother was here. We were watching it earlier, and I was rooting for Croatia, mainly because that sibling rivalry. He was rooting for Russia for some random reason, so I was like, I'll root for Croatia. And we won. But it's awesome because in penalty kicks, it's, best of 5. That's how it starts. So if they're still tied after 5, then it goes sudden death where it's 1-1. The goalies were both doing a good job. They were stopping a few kicks. One guy on Russia's side missed a kick where he completely confused the goalie. The goalie went the wrong way, but then he missed the dang kick. He tried to kick it to the corner, missed completely.
Oh, my goodness.
That was the game changer right there.
Wow.
Yeah, it was bad. And then the first kicker for Russia, he kicked it right to the goalie. Like, kicks it, goalie's like...
Jeez.
Like, what the hell? So, it was very good, though. I wanted to see some penalty kicks because apparently the last, 3 games in the World Cup have gone to penalty kicks, which, I don't know if y'all watch any hockey, but that that's big. Like when the game goes to penalty kicks, like people love watching that because
Oh,
it's
yeah.
intense, you know. So I wanted to see that, and I got my wish.
There you go.
But it's been good. I haven't been able to watch all the games because they go on at different times. You know, it's all based off Russia time. So I'll be at work at 11 a.m. They'll have a game on.
They normally have it like 10 and 2 o'clock.
Yeah. And I'm just like, dang it. I want to watch it, but I'm working. So, you know, I'll be more prepared next World Cup. And apparently in 8 years, because it happens every 4 years, they're talking about doing it here in the U.S.
Really?
So we should try to make that happen. We should try to go catch the World Cup. That'd be
Heck
pretty
yeah.
awesome. The only problem is it goes over like several weeks. So we should probably try to go when it's around this time, like the quarterfinals and semifinals. Otherwise, you got to take like a whole freaking month. It's like, who can take a month off of work? That's not realistic.
Not me.
Yeah.
But we
Like,
do.
I'm gonna take a leave of absence.
Sign my time card when I'm gone.
It's like, I'll bring you back a Cristiano Ronaldo jersey.
But we do need to hit up a MLS game here close
Oh, yeah.
by. You know. I mean, we even looked at how much tickets were. Tickets were pretty cheap too,
Yeah. Yeah.
to where we want to be at. So
You can get in for as little as $20, I think it
Yep.
was. So, and Atlanta's not that far. Yeah, you might come back with a Zlatan jersey. He's a pretty awesome
Yeah.
dude. So let me tell you a little about Zlatan. You'll probably get a kick out of this. So, Kato, let me know what you think about it. So he was asked on a talk show what he got his wife for her birthday. And he looks at the reporter and was like, "Why I need to get her something? She has Zlatan. I'm her gift." So that's the type of guy he is. He's
Well, didn't none of his when he did on one of the Tonight shows, he showed the back of the newspaper of his.
yeah, he
like,
took an
bank-
ad out in the LA Times, I think it is, when he became an LA Galaxy member, a team member. He bought an ad out, and I forgot what it said.
It
Was it
says,
"You're
"Dear-
welcome" or something?
Dear LA, you're welcome. Zlatan. It's a whole page.
Yeah.
I think in America we call that narcissistic.
But he does it out of fun. Like he does it in like a comical way. So like hearing it, if you haven't seen him, you're like, man, this guy's a cocky little prick. But he definitely backs it up on the soccer field. And then when you actually hear him talk, like he's doing it out of fun. It's almost like a character that he plays. So at the end of the day, he's a cool guy. And, you know, I was telling J-Bat about him, and I was like, let me show you so you can see him. And then now he loves the guy because, you know, one thing's to talk-ish, but then when you back it up like that and then you see it, just how fun and cool he does it. There was an interview where a guy was asking him, hey, because up until like a week before the World Cup started, it was up in the air whether or not he was going to play. And he kept telling people that he was going to be at the World Cup. He's like, I'm going to be there. And they're like, okay, but are you going to be there as a player or a spectator? And then one guy asked him that, and he was like, I'm not going to tell you anymore because then you'll get more followers.
Yeah, but he didn't. The funny thing, he didn't say it like he didn't look at him when he answered it. He looked away when he answered it. So I was like, oh, that's really, really comical right there. It's funny too.
I'm not going to tell you anymore because then you'll get more followers. It's like, you try to get this story off of me, you're not going to get it.
Jeez. Oh my god.
And then come to find out, he's in really, really good seating area and
Oh yeah,
sponsored by
So
Visa.
Visa, yeah, he's one of the top soccer players in the world. So Visa basically paid for his trip, and I'm sure he's done a few commercials with them and stuff like that. Probably World Cup commercials, like Zlatan, it's at the World Cup.
He did. I think I saw one on his Twitter that he did a commercial for Visa. He goes, Zlatan's here at the World Cup. Zlatan sponsored by Visa. Visa paid my way over here for the World Cup. I was like, that's pretty smart.
Yeah, like all expense paid.
Yep.
So what's your funny story?
I don't have any funny stories.
I
I
thought you
am
said
a
you
funny
had.
story.
I thought you said you had one.
Well, I had one of fanboy geeking.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, one of it was
Is that the spoon?
No, shut up.
I don't even want to know.
I said it the wrong way, and my brother and him are the only ones that still bring that story up, and it's retarded. Very retarded. See? I told you it's retarded.
Go ahead. What is it?
I don't want to get in trouble just for saying that word or anything else. But my story was, I'm a big wrestling fan. Oh, be quiet. Well, I'm a big wrestling fan, and I like to watch a lot of wrestling and following it. And my first time ever at Dragon Con, I looked around, and they had the Walk of Fame.
Yeah.
Where you can actually meet all the celebrities that have been in movies and everything else. And I was just walking around, and then I turned another aisle, and I see, I think it was like 4 pro wrestlers. I noticed. I was like, hey, that's so and so. Hey, that's so and so. But one of them that pointed out to me was a wrestler named Virgil.
Oh yeah.
He was.
He used to roll with the $1 million.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ted DiBiase's bodyguard, as they would say. He'd always held the $1 million belt for Ted DiBiase and everything else. And I looked at him. I was like, man, I want to go meet him. There was a line just right there. People being not smart. So, hey, Virgil, saying some rude stuff and everything else. And I turned over and I saw there's only 2 people there, and I'm like, hey, Virgil, what's up? And I threw the click sign to him, which is the normal NWO, because he was part of the NWO. And he looked at me, he goes, what's up, man? And he started doing the NWO sign. I was like, oh, this is awesome. Now I definitely got to go meet him. So I went in and I stood there, and a guy asked me, he goes, hey, do you mind taking a picture? I was like, yeah, I don't mind at all. Fan for a fan, more definitely. And when it was my turn to talk to him, we were there for a good 10, 15 minutes when there were still people right there. And he goes, you know what? I got something for you. I've been waiting to give this to somebody. And he turned around, opened up his bag, and he pulled out a NWO Wolfpack license plate. He goes, I'll give this to you. And he signed it and gave it to me.
Oh, that's cool.
So I of course, at conventions you pay for autographs and pictures and all that stuff. I didn't have to pay for that one, but I did pay for the picture because it was awesome just to meet him. And I was geeking out and being a fanboy as I am, and I'm still a fanboy. Just meeting professional wrestlers, a big thing.
Well, you talked about it a little bit on a past episode, but meeting one of the Power Rangers.
Oh yeah,
Tell me a little bit about
3 of them right now.
Well, what was your best experience out of those 3? Like, which one do you remember the most? Which Rangers were they? Green Ranger?
It was blue, red, and black.
Okay.
So it was David Yost, Billy, Austin St. John, and then Johnny Young Bosch. I played, I think it was Rocky. That was his name. And I really liked Austin St. John and Billy Yost. Because I took my son. My son's a big diehard Power Rangers fan. And I showed him all the old TV shows, and he still watches them no matter what. And right when my son went up to go meet David, David put all of his stuff down, even his cup of Starbucks, and went around the table and talked to him. And, he said, hey, how you doing? What's your name? And everything else. And Austin St. John did the same exact thing. I was like, this is really cool. Johnny Young Bosch was awesome too as well. But the interaction time we had with Austin St. John and David Yost was a lot longer than Johnny Young Bosch.
Gotcha. They took more time out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Don't get me wrong. Johnny Young Bosch is a very well-known voice actor in anime. Plus, he's a voice actor for the new Devil May Cry game. So, but that was pretty cool meeting all those Power Rangers, and I can't wait to meet 2 more that's coming up next year for my son, because it'll be pretty neat just to meet them and, you know.
Absolutely. Kato, I don't think we got your story about when being goofy and when maybe that's gone wrong.
He's just enjoying it, listening to us and actually making fun of me.
I don't know, spoons, cups, whatever. Yeah, being goofy.
Or if you just want to give us a funny story.
Well, I'll give you a funny story. One time, this is back when probably I was maybe a little bit older than my grandson's age. I bought a BB gun from another guy down the street.
Okay, I was gonna say you just walked up in a store and made this happen.
No. Oh, no. That's later on in life. But anyway, so I'm playing with this BB gun, and the kid across the street, he was a total dork. Nobody liked him.
He was a D-bag.
He was. I mean, and his dad, I think, was German.
Okay.
And because he'd call for him, he'd go, Steve-O, and then you'd hear in the background, and so, and he wouldn't, we'd invite him to play games with us. Okay. Invite him to play football, he didn't know how to do it. He would ruin it for everybody. Everybody would try to include him, but he would ruin it for everybody. So he wasn't the best kid around. So we lived across the street from each other.
Okay.
So from my front door, I can see his front door and everything. So I'm like, we had our doors open all the time because at my parents' house, we didn't have central air. The only central air that happens if you open up the other window on the side of the other house, the air comes through.
That's central.
That's central, centrally located. You sit right there in the middle of the path of that wind. So, it was a hot summer day. Of course, I'm always thinking of something to do, devilishly, and they had an old car out there that I don't know why it was there.
This was your parents, or
No,
just
no,
like a random neighborhood car?
This is
Across the street.
Steve Owen's house.
Steve Owen.
Yeah. And it was sitting there. It didn't run. It was rusty and everything else. So he run out of his he'd run out of his door and go give it little faces because he knew when we had our doors open. He'd yell our names out and give a jump up and down. Do all these kind of undulations of his body toward us. So we're like, forget you, I'll fix you.
Right.
I'm going to put a dent in your car with my BB gun.
Oh.
So I opened up the door and I pumped it up. Crack. I said, nah, 3 would do. So I aimed it at the car. And at that time, I took my eyes off and I shot. And all I heard was the BB hit the back of the window, and the window shattered into 1,000 million pieces. I'm like, oops. So I pulled the door closed and left it closed. Praying to God nobody would come across the street saying, what happened to my car? I don't know. I don't know who did it. I'm just a kid. What are you looking at me for?
They're going to find the BB.
After that, the BB gun was probably in 1 million pieces. Couldn't find evidence of what happened. So, shooting at the back window, he never did find out who did it. Never did. So that was it for that one right there.
Yeah.
But
He may be listening, so who knows now?
yeah, I did not do it. It was John Aragon from down the street. But things like that used to always happen in our neighborhood. I mean, we'd play hide and seek at night, and one of my friends, I think, tried to hide in his own fireplace.
Oh my god.
What?
Yeah, from the top of the roof and went down. He got stuck.
Oh snap.
Everybody got mad at him because he ruined the game. I'm like, see, now we can't play anymore. He's stuck. He's crying. Police are over there. We're like, man, we're making him feel really bad. I mean, he's sitting there, I can't get out. And we're like making him feel really bad. You ruined the game for all of us. See what you did. See what you did. I mean, it was crazy. We were always doing something. Always doing something. Always. But
Would you play with all of your brothers? Will all your brothers be involved too?
yeah, we'd hide.
Oh
I mean, I think I had the best hiding place.
What are some other games y'all played back then? Did y'all ever play Kill the Man? You got beat the crap out of one. It's like the whole street versus one kid, and you got to run.
No, we used to. As a matter, we used to play football, street versus street. You know, and we got really good. I think we played a lot. Then all of a sudden we said, "Look, the street hurts too much. Let's play. Let's play at the public library where they have grass. It's better." So we ended up playing on the grass. I mean, we were tackling on the concrete
Horrible
street.
What do they call that?
Road rash.
Road rash.
Yeah. And we weren't riding motorcycles. So it was my upbringing, I have to say, was pretty interesting. Though this one incident that happened, my dad was getting, I don't know where he got this washing machine from.
He just came home with a random washing machine one day.
Yeah, I can't remember how it got into our yard. I really don't. The only thing I remember is this. I looked inside and said, "Oh, that's a tub." I think it'd be neat to put a fire in that tub.
A fire.
A fire.
What?
I thought that would be pretty cool. Yeah. So I grabbed some newspaper, rolled it up, and put it on the bottom. Again, I'm thinking things, Land of the Giants. I'm thinking.
Right.
So I thought, okay,
this
so
is
I
gonna be
lit it.
cool.
Yeah, it was cool. It got big.
Were you near water that you were probably like, hey, I could start a fire and I can immediately turn it off with this water?
Nobody thought of water. I didn't think of
I
water.
was trying to give you some credit.
No credit on that one. But here's what happened. It started getting bigger than I thought. I go, oh, crap. And so I looked down in my dad's garage. Now,
This was in the garage.
it's just outside the garage. That's why I got freaked out. I looked down and said, oh, there's a gallon of something. Okay.
Let me pour it on.
Yeah. And just the backstory, my dad and I, we'd clean and put cars together. Had to put, if something broke, he'd fix it. Before you put it in, you better clean it. That's what my dad said. When we use solvent, highly flammable.
You know where this is going.
So I looked down and I said, oh, and I didn't see the word solvent on it because it was dirty. So I grabbed it, opened it up, and threw it thinking, okay, it'll put this out. Whoosh. Holy crap. It did about 15 feet of fire up. I thought, oh, God, don't get your house on fire.
Oh my gosh.
So then I run to go get the hose. All right. I broke the hinge, I broke the little knob trying to get it out real quick. So I had to go to another place and get water. By this time, smoke. I was like, oh, here it comes. I'm thinking in my mind, here comes the fire department. And I'm like, doing that. So the whole time I'm doing that, my brother comes out, what are you doing? I look at him with this stern face, putting the fire out. What do you think I'm doing? And here's my mom and papa gonna get so mad at you. Thanks for the help.
Which one was it?
So yeah, it finally gets put out. I'm thinking, oh, I got to move this thing because there's nothing but ash,
Oh my God.
and it's burnt down on the bottom. So I'm turning the washing machine around, thinking, I hope he doesn't see this side. Yeah. There's a lot of remnants of me.
So did you get the fire out?
Oh yeah, I got it out.
Okay.
Yeah. My next door neighbor, who I guess she saw it from her window, she comes over. She's Hispanic. She's spurting nothing but agua. So she puts it out, still screaming Spanish at me, and turns around. It's out. She turns around. She's still speaking Spanish all the way and goes back inside the house. Thank you. And I push it back.
It's like,
Yep. Like nothing happened. Nothing to see here, folks.
Until
But,
Grandpa actually sees it.
did they ever approach you about it? Did you ever get asked about what the heck happened here?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Whew, getting away from that one right there. Yeah.
How many brothers and sisters did you have?
There's actually 9 of us. There's 6 boys and 3 girls.
Were any of your siblings? We have a guy that I talked about previous episode where when I was in 2nd grade, his name was Pablo. He was Filipino, and he would tell me there was this story I told him one time where I used one curse word. He loved it, so he told me to tell it to more friends in class, and then he went and told on me.
Ratted him out.
So we Pablo, that's what we use for snitches. If you're a snitch, you're a Pablo. So did you have any of your siblings? Was there one that was a Pablo out of all of y'all? Like the tattletale on you all the time? Did you have any Pablos in your
No, I
family?
was probably the biggest Pablo. I mean, really. Why not? No. Pablo, I not really. I mean, you kind of, if you may, one of the things with my pop, if you did it, you better fess up to it. Don't lie.
Right.
Don't lie. Because it's like you that's it. You're done. So it's more or less, might as well take the licking. And boy, let me tell you, I did take a licking. I mean, and that's probably the reason why the way I am right now is because of my dad. I have to handle a lot to him. Yeah, he taught me a lot of stuff, and then things that I would never think about doing. There ain't no way.
Right.
I wouldn't join the army.
Right.
So it was just the fact of the way he is, his work ethics, his the way he did things was amazing. Back then, of course, when you're young, you're like thinking, why are you giving me a hassle? How come it's like this? I never had a drawer. Did you have a drawer when you were growing up?
Like to put
For
clothes in?
Yeah. Did you?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
I didn't.
I think I shared it with my little brother, but yeah, I had one.
I didn't. Seriously, I did. We didn't have a drawer. And
So did y'all have your clothes hang on hangers or
what's
a
a hanger?
basket?
No, no basket. It was a file. It was a file cabinet. It was a cabinet with shelves
Gotcha.
that you would put like oil or something, spray can. It's
Not for clothes, but
not
that's
for
what
clothes.
y'all
Yeah,
used it.
and and he religiously said, make sure you fold your clothes right, and if they weren't folded right, oh my gosh, it's like The Exorcist.
He was trying to teach y'all responsibility, basically, like just being.
Yeah, and he was. He taught me how to fold clothes. I mean, when I first went to basic, I did it the way I thought it was, and I looked at the instructions. Okay, yeah, that's how you do it because that's what I used to do. That is easy,
Right.
not a problem. So I started doing that, and the drill sergeant looked at me. Where did you learn that from? Home, drill sergeant. And, he asked me, he goes, was your dad a drill sergeant? He goes, he felt like it. Who taught you how to fold your clothes? You roll your socks.
Right.
I mean, you're military, you rolling your socks, right?
Right.
That's what I had to do,
Right.
at home. Rolling socks. Yeah, I better roll my socks.
I thought it made a lot of sense.
It did. Yeah. And he looked at that, goes, and then, of course, then the drill sergeant said, I want everybody to look over here and look at his locker. Yeah, I want your locker to look like his. I'm thinking, oh, thank you very much. Thank you. Spank you. You know, I was like, really? You're going to use me as an example.
Right.
You know.
You don't want to stand out in basic. That's
No.
one thing they told me before I went. It's like, you don't want to stand out. You just want to you want to follow instructions, but you kind of want to just, be one of the guys in the back, does everything right, but you don't want to be that guy, So,
Did you ever have that guy when you were in basic?
Were you that guy?
so funny story. I didn't know this was going to happen.
Little pause.
But a couple things.
His name is Pablo.
So a couple quick funny stories. I'll just go over like 2 or 3 real quick. So second, I think it was the third from last day before we graduated. There was, and they use different terminology for this, but like where people can get recycled or washed back. Basically, if you screw up big time in basic's supposed to be so many weeks, but if you screw up, they can hold you back to where you have to redo a week or 2 if you screwed up that big. One of the last things we did, I did Air Force basic, so obviously a little easier. But at that time, it was 6 weeks. I think Army's 8 weeks? If I'm not
12.
12. Jeez. Way longer.
Good grief.
So it was either 6 or 8. I think it was 6 weeks, though, for me. But anyway, third from last day, we were doing a run with the colonel. So it's like one of the things, like if you looked at everything you're supposed to do in basic training, this is something you do after you've officially completed, but haven't gone through the graduation yet. This is one of the almost the last thing you do. It's like a big moment. You wake up extra early and you go and run like 2 miles with the colonel. Everyone's out the barracks. We got our PT uniforms on. We're about to go run. I happened to go back because I think we had something that morning. Maybe we went to church or something, but we were running back. No, I think we had breakfast. Then we ran back to get all our stuff, like our little belts, so because it's super early. It's dark still. I think it was like maybe 4 in the morning or something. It's still dark. We got to have our little belts so that way we're reflective in case the cars come by and whatnot. So we have to run back and get that. There's still one of my fellow airmen sleeping. He had missed everything as far as breakfast, all this crap. And as soon as I run out, I happened to catch him off the corner of my eye because he was on a top bunk. And the bunk was, pretty high. Unless you're 6 foot something, you wouldn't see, I happened to look and I was like, no way. This guy's been sleeping the whole time. If drill sergeant catches him, this dude's getting washed. Like he's straight up getting washed back at least a week just because he slept through one of these big events. So I saved his ass. I was like, so-and-so, you need to get the hell up right now. Get in your PT clothes and come. Because if you don't, your ass is getting washed back. Dude was freaking out, crusting his eyes and shit. Just went and got dressed real quick, and then he was out in like a minute. So if it wasn't for that, he would have got washed back. He wouldn't have graduated with us.
Wow.
So I saved the dude's ass so bad. So that was pretty crazy. Keeping in mind that my recruiter told me not to stand out and basically don't be that guy. Like if they say who can show me a perfect push-up? Even though my dad 20 years in the Army and I know how to do a perfect push-up, he's like, don't be that guy. Like, I do it. Because they will make an example out of your ass. It's like, oh, you can do a perfect push-up. Okay. Go on and show me a 50 right now.
Jeez.
You don't want to be that guy. So I didn't volunteer for that type of stuff. And it ended up kicking me in the butt. One of my mom's really good friends growing up, she was in the Army. And, I'm all high and mighty about to graduate from high school, knowing I'm going to go into the Air Force and thinking, oh, it's the Air Force, this and that, better than this and that. And thinking it's just going to be smooth sailing, right? Even in basic, just smooth sailing. And, so I didn't volunteer when they were giving out duties for everybody in the barracks. And everyone who didn't volunteer and was left at the end got bathroom detail. Toilet scrubbing, urinal scrubbing, making sure there's no spots on the mirror. If there's a spot on the mirror, you got to do the whole restroom again. Oof. Scrubbing the showers, all the little tiles in the shower. That's what I ended up having to do with the toothbrush.
I was about to ask you, did you use a toothbrush cleaning
and
all
she used
this?
to always joke. My mom's friend used to be like, oh, you think it's all cool because you're going in the Air Force. Well, guess what? When you're in basic, you're going to be scrubbing toilets. And I was like, yeah, right. I've never heard anybody scrubbing toilets in the Air Force. Guess who scrubbed toilets in the Air Force?
Oh,
DJ Doom.
That's bad.
So yeah, there's a couple funny stories. One other. Ooh, I don't know if I'm gonna tell that one. I'll save that one for another day. I just thought of one. But
I remember one story that Dad told me about was M&M's.
okay.
Having M&M's in his
there.
locker.
Oh, okay.
He's shaking his head right now because he remembers it. He hates it. I think. Did Mom bring you? It's like send you a pack of M&M's.
Little care
Was
package.
it like a care package?
No. No, it wasn't.
Now, was it the regular M&M's or the M&M's that you like now?
It was peanut M&Ms.
See,
The
he
yellow
still
pack.
likes peanut M&Ms.
It was a
Peanut M&Ms are
pound
his
of
favorite.
M&Ms.
Just that nice family size bag.
Yeah, why not? I'm a family.
I'm a family man.
It was funny, bring that up. You're not in basic. You're not supposed to have anything because they
Right.
tear you down. No candies, no nothing. Everything's just strictly, drink milk, belly wash, and then whatever else. But it was about, I think, the 5th week. I looked across the way and I saw the little shopette in the trailer, and I knew they had peanut M&Ms because he made us look at them. Says, "But you can't buy them." So I asked one of the guys, I said, "Can you buy some?" I said, "I'll do your boots. I'll shine your boots if you do go with this." So he did. Man, we OD'd on peanut M&Ms, and he bought his candy. We're sitting there shining our boots, thinking, "Oh, this is so great." And so I went to go put my M&Ms back up in the locker. And what's the worst thing you can do to your locker?
Leave it unlocked.
I left it unlocked.
Yep, that's a security violation.
Oh, he secured that violation good. Because I put it up, came downstairs. We lived on the third. My bay was the 3rd floor. I come down, I hit the 2nd floor. I'm thinking, I had this funny feeling I forgot something. So I go up. I look at my locker. Everything out of my locker is on the floor, to include all these M&Ms over there.
God.
And so all of a sudden, we had a senior drill sergeant who was about 7 feet tall. And he was the McGilla gorilla looking this senior drill. He called me in his office and said, "Beat your face." And basically, beat your face means get in the push-up position. This is no joke, and I'm not exaggerating on this. I think I must have did the push-ups for at least about a good 3 hours.
Jeez.
I was in the push-up position for 3 hours. A pool of sweat was underneath my thing. He goes, "We're going to end up calling you Candyman. So every time you see us or you hear your name, Candyman, you just go ahead and get on and do
Candyman.
do 20 push-ups."
That's your nickname for the podcast right there.
That's why I didn't bring it up.
I had to bring it up.
So I'm running, trying to avoid all these drill sergeants. All the drill sergeants know. They see,
Oh, they know you as Candyman now.
oh gosh, yes. All you'd hear is, "Candyman!"
That's better than peanut butter cup. It's a good. It's a good
Yeah,
choice.
that'd be hard to get out. Drill sergeants can't speak. Because we had some guy, a drill sergeant. He only had one vowel as his name.
My God.
His name is Gerkman. And the vowel was in the man. Is it Gerkman? He couldn't speak English. He could get on. That's all he was saying. But see here, I'm running across the way. I'm beat feet. I $6 million man had nothing on me. And all of a sudden I hear, "Candyman." Boom, I drop down. It's like he's got remote control. Boom. And everywhere and at the end, out of the whole thing when we graduated, I had all the drill sergeants come up to me and he goes, "You are one crazy person." I said, "What do you mean, drill sergeant?" He goes, "Every time we did say Candyman, you dropped down." I said, "I was ordered to do that." He goes, "Well, you could have kept running." I said, "Yeah," I said, "Drill sergeant, but I could only run so far." I got to come back, and they all laughed. But they appreciated what. I mean, I was used an example, but I still was, one of the people they really liked because I had, like I said, I had my uniform, all my uniforms and everything else.
You were on point.
Dressed. Yeah, so they couldn't get me too hard, but oh my gosh, I kid you not. I probably look like Popeye coming up when I did those push-ups for 3 hours, man.
I remember his looking at his uniforms when I was in ROTC. Mm-hmm. His were just clean cut, all pristine. All of his medals he had was, clean to a brim, and it was measured correctly. And I remember when I was in ROTC, he helped me measure everything out and told me, hey, get this. This will help out with, your brass and everything else so it doesn't, deteriorate and everything. It makes it shiny, so when uniform day came up, you don't have to worry about it. It's already prepped and ready for you.
Yep.
It was pretty neat just to see that and experience that. When I was in ROTC and hearing his stories about it was really cool.
Oh yeah.
Mine were the bad stories.
I got one more funny story. So when I was after basic, I'm assuming yours was like this. They send you to your tech school where you learn how to do your job. So whatever that may be in the military. So when I was in tech school, I ended up joining the drill team because I actually liked marching and I thought I was pretty good at it. Funny story about that, which I did make the drill team and I ended up being the guidon bearer. And that's usually they put the best person for that because you not only got to be on point, but you're leading for everything and holding the flag at that. But when I was in basic, my drill sergeant didn't think so highly of me and my marching. He thought I was so garbage at marching. There was this little secret kind of get around because they do test us on marching, and then the drill sergeant's sort of reputation comes into question if his squad, whatever, doesn't do well at marching. Like they test, they score us on different things. He thought I was so bad at marching that he sent me and this other guy that was terrible at marching to the hospital that day. Like, go get checked out.
Oh, wow.
It's like, you're sick today, quotation mark. So go get checked. That's how bad he thought I was at marching.
Wow.
So I'm over here having to say like, I think I have strep, something like that, because that's how bad he thought I was at marching.
That's terrible.
So I feel like, he probably was, I don't know if he checked on everybody that he graduated from him at basic, but if he would have looked into me, he would have been like, damn, maybe I did have him wrong. That kind of put a chip on my shoulder to prove him wrong because I knew I was better than that, but I just get nervous, you fuck up a little bit. It's like, right face, and you just hesitate a little bit, screw everybody up. And I think he just had it in for me. It's like, Lopez, get out of here. You fucking suck. Get out of here. Wow. So when it came time to test, he was like, you and y'all going to ER today. I'm just like, what? So it sucked, but that happened. But I always had that in the back of my head, like, my drill sergeant thought I was trash at marching, so
but
boy, was he wrong.
That's a good motivating factor.
Absolutely.
It really is. Just, it may think, it kind of pushes you up to that oomph level to say, ain't no way, Jose.
Right. Right.
So.
Another story that just popped in my head, this one's a quick one. So one of the things in basic that they do is they test you on your marksmanship. And I remember I went in right out of high school. So I got excited off of stupid little things, like how many, ribbons you can get on your uniform and stuff like that, medals and whatnot. And a couple that you can get through basic, one of them was marksmanship. So I wanted to get that one because I was like, that's badass. You get marksmanship. Like, you're out here, pop, sniping folks. When it came time to actually shoot and test for marksmanship, J-Bad, I actually own like prescription glasses. Mm-hmm. I only need them for two things. I need them for if I'm driving at night, because I get like a little bit of glare, like nighttime blindness if there's bright lights and stuff like that. The other thing I need them for is shooting. Obviously, if anyone's ever either seen a movie, with basic, like Platoon, stuff like that, you've seen these horrid glasses that they actually give people in basic training.
Dad knows the name.
Yeah, the what are the
birth control glasses?
The BCGs. And me being a little metro, being stylish and stuff, I'm like, hell no. I don't want those on my face. They're horrible. They make everybody look like they're from one family. Everyone that's got those BCGs on, they all look a little related. That's how horrible they are. So I swear, when we went to get tested for our hearing and our eyes, I was like, I got to do everything I can to pass this test. And I didn't think my vision was bad because I had never had to wear glasses prior to this. It was in basic that I realized I had some problems seeing things at a distance. So anyway, when the time came to shoot, for our marksmanship badge, I go out there and I'm over there getting, taking in all the tips that they've given me, like about your breathing and stuff right before you shoot. I'm doing everything I can. And when that paper came back, I think I had hit 3 out of 50.
Wow.
I had like the lowest score in my battalion. It was horrible. And I'm over here like when it's about to come, I'm like, come on, I hope I get that marksmanship badge. Needless to say, I did not get that marksmanship badge. So that's another one. And I'm just like, damn. See, I really did need those glasses. I'm just glad that they didn't connect the dots and be like, you shot horribly. We need to get your eyes checked again. Because, yeah, I would have hit 3 out of 50. It was horrible. So just another funny story from that time. My dad doesn't know that. Hopefully he never hears this.
Yeah, I don't know. You never know.
No, he'll get a kick out of it.
Yeah.
So from there, I want to go into J-Bat does not watch Game of Thrones. And some of y'all listening may not watch Game of Thrones. So we have a little segment because me and Kato definitely do watch Game of Thrones. We're both huge fans. And I feel like J-Bat's been sleeping on the show. And we want to kind of give you a little pitch on why you should watch.
Here's my thing, okay? I'm not much of like a trendy person in, watching all these other TV shows and everything else and hearing, everything. I'm not a trendy person. I don't like.
By trendy person, you mean you're not a hype beast? Like you don't like to follow what everyone else is talking about?
Correct.
But do you do it to the extent where you're like, oh, this is popular, so I'm automatically going to ignore it?
Right.
Okay. Well, when you do that, you're also missing out on stuff that deserves to be hyped up.
True.
And that's what I definitely feel Game of Thrones is one of them. So just, just take that and maybe you'll at least give some things a look.
I did watch the first 2 episodes of the first season, and I will finish Game of Thrones before the new season comes out.
But either way, we're gonna give you some reasons, and instead of doing them individually, I think Kato, we can just kind of go in and mutually kind of give him some reasons on why, what he's been missing and stuff like that. But we'll try to keep it spoiler free as much as possible, since obviously there's been 7 seasons,
7 seasons.
7 seasons, action packed.
Yes.
So one thing I'll start, I actually spoke to my girlfriend about this earlier because I was like, maybe I should get some more Game of Thrones fans input because this is a pretty big topic,
Isn't all of our friends Game of Thrones fans?
Except you.
Except me.
Ding, ding, ding.
Like they talk about it all the time in front of me, and I'm like, okay, I haven't seen this show. And they're like, they turn to me like, oh, you haven't seen it. I'm sorry.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah, exactly.
We call that a gap. That's called a gap. There's a space.
Yes, I am the gap in the friendship of this Game of Thrones stuff.
But one thing that has always drawn me to it after watching some of it is that whenever you watch a quote-unquote TV show, because despite this being on HBO, this is a TV show, is that nowadays, I mean, especially once you get, I'd say, late 20s or older, you start watching shows that you feel like you've watched before. Like it might be different characters, it might be different scenery, but it's like basically, it's based off a Shakespearean play or an old story, and they just rename the characters and just, it's the same-ish, different day, basically. Like you can already predict what's going to happen at the end. You can predict what's going to happen at the high points, that climactic points. And it's boring. Regular TV can get repetitive. So with Game of Thrones, what initially drew me to it was that it wasn't like that. It's not predictable. If you've never watched Game of Thrones before, boy, are you in for a roller coaster. And there's a little bit of everything in it. It does get a little, more into the fantasy side of things, which some people may or may not be into. But I think if you give it a shot, you'll even start liking that a little more. But I think
I remember you telling me, if I ever liked a character on the show, don't get attached to it.
Yeah, don't get too attached to characters. And the reason I say that is because
Something's
this isn't
gonna
your
happen.
this isn't your typical show where you see maybe the cover of the movie itself or season 1, and you're just like, oh, that looks awesome. That character looks super BA, badass. And then, you watch a movie, you see someone on the cover of a movie, you can assume certain things. You're like,
Yeah.
okay, beginning to end, this guy's going to be kicking ass if it's an action movie, or if it's a comedy movie. Yeah, this guy's going to be making me laugh throughout the whole movie, stuff like that. Well, Game of Thrones kind of shits all over that. Don't assume anything.
Right.
And how many shows can you say are like that? I can't think of many.
I can't
So
think of one.
it makes it feel like you're actually almost like looking into someone's life versus just tuning into a TV show. And being that's on HBO, the realism factor, with the exception of the fantasy elements, it's dialed up. There is gore, there is nudity, there is a lot of other things too. Anything you want to add to that?
Well, you said you like wrestling.
Yes, I love wrestling.
Okay. You like watching guys and the divas fight.
Right.
In fact, I'm actually watching one as we're doing this.
Okay, well, there you go. Okay, we're talking real life, not real life stuff, but I want to say, if you look at Game of Thrones is just like how people act right now.
Right.
Trying to vie in to see who is the stronger person, who can I ally myself with on this one, so that way I can gain riches and whatever. So it's kind of like a game of chance these people take. Same thing here in real life, so to speak.
Someone's always trying to.
Yeah, they're always trying to vie in to see who's okay. I like him because he has more men to go to war with, and it's just that thing where it's like real life. There's people out here. It's like recently the battle for the governorship. Okay, who are you going to align yourself with our mayor here or the lady down in Montgomery or whoever?
Right.
It's
so
just
the political element is definitely factored in.
it plays a lot, yeah, and it is highly political, just like the times it is right now. So
So I
if
think
you,
I remember watching the first episode when I was with you. It felt like it was a real political standpoint of, how things were doing with the throne and everything else that was going on.
In the first episode, the hand of the king passes, and certain things happen. Certain things are apparently involved in that happening. And the Stark family, which is essentially like the central part of the story, sort of the main characters, the main family, that everything, their point of view, is the focus of the main story, at least in season 1. Eddard, the father, gets a visit from the king because he wants him to be his hand. So you get to see a few different things in play, and he gets put in a very awkward situation where his former best friend is asking him for the hugest favor of his life.
Which means he has to leave his village just to go be with him.
Right. So I mean, there's a lot of things going on there, and it's intense. From what you've seen, you have no idea. Like on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being how you feel after maybe the last season, you're still at like a 1. You have no idea. Like the show's so amazing because of just the emotional roller coaster it takes you through. And it really, for me, set the bar for any show I watched after that. Mm-hmm. And
It does.
you know, even if it's a completely different type of show, it might be like a show on a in a completely different genre. You still like have your standards set. Like the bar is now here, and you know if it doesn't compare at all, you're just like, you know, yeah. So it really is definitely top 5, if not top 3, all time shows I've watched, and I think that they did a really good job at the different families. They just refer to them as their houses. So different houses, like you can sort of align or compare yourself. You can find some comparisons to at least one character, if not multiple, in the story. So that's another thing that they really did a good job. Even though this is set way in the past, you can see that we're all humans at the end of the day, and you'll still see some things that you can relate to.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they still have the same struggles as we have nowadays back then.
right.
It's the same. I mean, it hasn't changed. Human nature has not changed. That's what the whole, if you look at it, the whole series is like that. Human nature is not going to change. Mm-hmm. It's the people that, you know, that people change, and how they align themselves is going to be the moneymaker,
Yeah.
especially when you get into more of the series, because like Doom says, don't like one character.
Yeah.
Don't, because that character, you'll like him in the beginning, but at the end you may start hating him.
You know how they say don't hate the player, hate the game. Well, in this
game.
case, don't love the character, just love the show.
Yeah, it is.
That's a good way to put
Just
it.
take it in. You know what I'm saying?
all
Take
you-
it in, man, or whatever that saying
Just
is.
enjoy the story.
Yeah.
I mean,
You know,
what is your reason why you not want to watch it? and trust me, I mean, it's you know, when you talk about trends with movies, okay, you know, one of the biggest trends now is because back then, a long time ago, nobody wanted to watch Superman or Spider-Man who walk around in tights. You know, nobody wanted to do that. But look, you see a lot of them doing it now because
it's
he's
cool now.
He's watching that. Yeah, I like him.
Right.
Right?
It's the cool thing. Like back in the day, gaming was
Geek,
and now you
dork.
have tons of women getting into gaming. Kids are gaming. You know, it's older folks are getting into gaming.
Right.
You know, like now it's the cool thing to do. So I mean, I totally understand. Like, I'm like that with music. Obviously, I DJ a little bit. I mainly just do it for the family now. You know, I don't have enough time to go DJ in clubs or anything. But with music, I like finding new artists, and then when they get hyped up, like everyone else finds out about these artists, I kind of get bad taste in my mouth, and I'm like, you know, I kind of they're not special to me anymore because now everybody knows about them. Mm-hmm. That's not to say I don't listen to some artists like Drake that's super popular that everyone listens to, but it does give me a different feeling knowing feeling like I found this little special artist that sounds great and nobody knows about. Like that's something special. So I totally know where you're coming from when you're like, oh, everyone watches this show. I'm not going to watch it just because everyone watches it.
Yeah.
But you're definitely missing out on this one. This one is one, you know, that kind of, it's totally different. It's deserving of the hype. And, you know, we watch some hyped up stuff like WWE. Everyone pretty much knows what it is. Mm-hmm. But it's still good. We watch it.
Oh, yeah.
So, but this one's definitely the exception when it comes to things that are quote unquote overhyped. This one's deserving of the hype, and we're supposed to get one more season. So now's the perfect time for you to get into it because you can just catch up, and next year is when the next season. So you have plenty of time.
1 year from now.
Something like that. Mm-hmm. Apparently they just wrapped up filming like yesterday or the day before. So, but there's gonna be spinoffs. And, you know, that's something me and Kato definitely looking forward to.
I remember you said about they were going to do a spinoff how the king died and all that stuff. They're going to deal with that from the first episode when I was watching it.
Yeah. So we don't know what all they're going to do, but spinoffs have been confirmed. So the Game of Thrones is going to turn into like one of those genres or stories where, you know, like they pop out movies, shows, etc., like Star Wars or Star Trek or Marvel. You know, they're going to keep it going like that.
Because I'm sure a lot of people a lot of viewers from, that watch Game of Thrones or other TV shows per se. It's like, whatever happened to this character? Whatever happened to that character?
Yeah,
Why they
there's a
bringing
lot
up-
more
why
story
they
to be
bringing up
told.
This event, and those spinoffs would help them out. Okay, they put two and two together. Okay, so that's how it did it.
Yeah, there's a lot more story to tell with this. Whether it's a house that they focus on that they didn't really focus on, because it's going to get to the point with Game of Thrones. They introduce so many characters that they have to jump back and forth.
Right.
Luckily, each episode's about an hour long with no commercial interruptions because it's HBO. So you'd be surprised how much they can pack into 60 minutes. You start to say, wow, I didn't realize 60 minutes was that long because we're so accustomed to watching shows on TV where they put in commercials in there and you actually only get 40 minutes of show. Here you get the full 60 minutes, no commercials. So they can actually pack in quite a bit. But one downside when the show comes out, like when the new season comes out next year, we're gonna have a certain amount of episodes. I don't know how much it's gonna be, but it's pretty big, such a big show that you'll know how much episodes it is. Like they'll be like, oh, it's gonna be 7 episodes this season. So then every time you watch an episode, you're
count
like
down how
one,
many-
you're like 1 away, 2 away till the end of the season, and then it kind of bothers me because I'm just like, the end is near.
Yeah.
So like when the end of last season was coming, and I would watch every episode, and it would end, I'm like, we only got one more episode. What are they gonna pack into this one? So I like watching shows with like all that out the window, but with this show, it's so popular, it's really hard to do, and you definitely want to stay off social media when the episodes drop. If you don't watch the episode right when it drops, stay off social media because this show is that big that all it takes is one picture and it can ruin the
It's
episode
kind of
for
like
you.
watching a movie too.
Yeah,
It's good. I mean, it gets to a point. It gets to a point like this. When you like what DJ Doom says. You learn the houses.
yeah,
You learn that you actually learn the houses. It's like Harry Potter, Hufflepuff and
Right.
Gryffindor, all that stuff.
Slytherin.
You start saying that stuff, and believe it or not, you'll start saying lines that nobody else would recognize
yeah.
if you don't watch Game
like
of
another
Thrones.
language.
Okay, it's like back when Lord of the Rings, when that whole
Oh yeah.
whole language was built for that word,
The Elvish language?
that film. Nobody knew about that language even existed, but they learned it. So, that's what you're gonna learn from the Game of Thrones. Isn't the Game of Thrones from a book called Fire and Ice? Is that right?
That was the original one.
Yeah, See, they call it. I mean,
Song of Fire and Ice.
yeah, it's like Fire and Ice, not.
You'll find out what that's about too.
Yeah, I don't know what that is, but two contradictory things. But the Game of Thrones is exactly what it is. It's a game of who's going to be on that throne.
Exactly.
And that's the thing that keeps getting me to
Coming
watch
back.
it more. Saying, okay, now who's going to be Empire this time?
Right.
What sly thing is going to happen? Again, it's just like nowadays, corporate world. What do? They do sly things to get who's at the top. So,
Right.
I mean, it's good. It's good because it's, and I think they take what happens now in this time period and translate it
incorporate
back then.
Exactly. I think so.
Because it makes a lot of sense. Like, oh my gosh, it's same thing happens there as it has happened now, and it's like I said, human nature hasn't changed. It's going to stay the same, but it's interesting to watch it from another perspective. So.
From there, we're going to segue into one of our last segments, fight stories. So
I don't have a segue.
I'm gonna.
Those are expensive.
We're doing a verbal segue where we're just
Is that when you? Is that the verbal?
clearly you haven't had a segue because that's not what they sound like. I'm pretty sure they're just
They're
like this.
really quiet.
Oh,
Paul Blart.
there's some people motorboated there. No.
But we're gonna transition into funny stories on if any of us have ever been in a fight as a kid, as an adult. Hopefully not as an adult, because that's bad. That's assault, brother.
Yeah.
But
Now, thinking of fighting, would it be verbal fight or fist fight?
fist fight, that's what I'm looking for. Do you have any funny stories where you've actually gotten in a fight with somebody? I have one. And if y'all want me to start, I'll go first.
You're a violent person.
This was as a kid.
I'm a lover, not a fighter.
I am too. I've only really fought two people. Okay, I'm not one of these guys just going out.
Your kid doesn't count. Your kid does not
Only
count.
fought one person.
He's the one
I'm
that
just
pushed you
kidding.
down the
I'm
stairs.
just kidding. Right. He left a little Hot Wheels toy there. Next thing you know, whoop whoop. But no, funny story about the people I've fought. They're both very, very close to me, and one of them is my little brother. He's a fighter, not a lover. Me and him. This is not the story I'm going to go into, but I at least want to mention those two individuals that I got in fights with. Me and my brother, we kind of grew up with sibling rivalries, and we're opposites in terms of certain things, and so me and him used to get in a few fights. J-Bat's seen my brother in action before. Mm-hmm. But that's a story for another day. But
Live and in person.
we actually hung out today. I said we were watching soccer, so no, me and my bro are good.
I mean, you have your moments. So,
Yeah,
I mean, that's
we're just both very passionate individuals.
Yes.
And that sometimes fire signs.
I mean, it's your sibling. You can love them or hate them. I mean, either way.
Yeah. At the end of the day, we're still bros.
Yeah.
But no, the one individual that I had multiple fights with is one of my best friends. His name's actually Josh. We grew up in North Carolina together, and I thought it would be funny to talk about some of our fights because they were over some of the stupidest things ever. So most of our fights happened when we were in middle school, so about 7th grade. I don't know how old the 7th grader is, but what would you say, about 12 maybe? 13? So these were when I was a teenager. I don't want y'all to think I'm getting in fights like, like last year or something like this. This was a long time ago. I used to walk down to the nearest block, and that's where I would catch my school bus. And then we had a little gang of friends, a couple buddies. So Josh, who is now still considered one of my best friends, a guy named Lawrence, a guy named Maurice, and then a kid named Matt. I say a kid named Matt because he was like a grade or two under us. But we would all catch the bus together there. But we would get there a little early sometimes because we loved playing basketball. Obviously, we're in North Carolina, so basketball was really big. It was really big growing up, and that's, I wanted to be an NBA player. Stopped growing in like 10th grade, so that didn't happen. But anyways, we would try to get there early so we could, do things like trade Pokemon cards or play Game Boy together or just hang out and, play basketball. Maybe get a little game of 21 in or something before the bus came. Well, one morning, it was snowing. We got snow a little more often in North Carolina than we do here in North Alabama, but it was a snowy day, and we were hanging out, and Josh would come over to the house sometimes. My dad, just being Hispanic, built a basketball goal in the backyard, and then he bought one, or I think he won one from a little raffle at like Walmart or something. So we had a real one, and then one that was rigged up, made out of wood, but he made like a little, full court. So, when that full court came into play, definitely not the right size. Like it wasn't even a third of what a real full court was, but, use your imagination a little bit. A bunch of the buddies would come over, and we'd play full court basketball there. So about around this time, I don't know if you're familiar with these, but there was these things called gel pens. I'm embarrassed to say this, but there was these things called gel pens, and the reason gel pens were special to me is because girls in school would get them and they'd write stuff. So me being a 7th grader, this is middle school's around that time where you really start becoming interested in the females, So women, girls, whatever, would have their own gel pens. But I'm like, man, if I bring a gel pen, maybe girls will take it and write on my hand, like write their names, stuff like that. I was into that. They were really popular for a while. So I had a little sister, and my mom, she ended up buying a pack of gel pens, and I took one, and I probably had it in my pocket because we didn't care when we were kids. We would just play basketball in our school uniforms, whatever, because I did wear uniforms back then. We'd go out there in our khakis, play basketball in our polo and khakis. It didn't matter. So I think we were playing basketball, and it fell out of my pocket outside in my full court. And Josh, being a little sneaky guy, because he was always a sneaky guy, I think just pocketed it. Didn't say anything to anybody. He was like, ooh, gel pen, pops it in his pocket. Anyway, the next day at the school bus stop, either the next day or the day after, he pops it out. And I'm like, dude, I was missing that. Where'd you get that gel pen? Like, that's mine. And he's like, no, the hell it ain't. It's like, this is, my mom got me this or some bull crap like that, some bull crap story. It was clearly mine. And so I call him out on it, and he's like, he gets a little, loud and obnoxious about it. And he's like, I swear, you try to take this gel pen from me, you're going to have to fight me. And I'm just like, what the hell? So we got in a fight over a gel pen.
Oh my gosh.
It was the quickest fight ever, though. So he kind of gets in boxing position, whatever. And I'm like, okay, let's do this. I think I went to like trip him, and it was snowing. Keep in mind, snowing. He slips, and I just go to punch him, and then our friends separate us. I got him at least one good time, but he ends up slipping in the snow, and then it was pretty much fight over after that. This wasn't the only fight me and Josh had. And we weren't friends after that. We were like, man, screw you, you're trying to steal from me and stuff like that. There was another time where we were playing basketball in that full court, and he kept hacking me. He kept fouling me to the point where, like, after I got mad and said, dude, play some basketball. How about you stop fouling me? He started doing it on purpose, like purposely just like slapping my hand when I go up to lay it up, where you'd hear the smack, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow.
Like just being obnoxious. That's just how he was. And then I think one thing he did, I ended up like spraining my ankle. It's like I got really pissed off, and I threw the basketball at him when he was running back the other way on the full court. And so when I threw the basketball at him, he gets mad, and he's like, what, you want to go? You want to go? And we got into it there too.
Jeez.
So the funny story is that, after all the fights we got into, typically they would go like this. And I'm not even trying to sound cocky, but I won every fight we ever got into. After this last one that I just spoke about in detail, but he would call me probably about maybe an hour or two after he would go home. He would call me, and then we'd just get cool again, and we'd grow closer after getting in these fights. And I think it's just I minored in psychology in college, so I think it has to do with like all that testosterone and just like energy you're putting out, passion you're putting out when you're fighting somebody, like when you're in a real fight, that it kind of opens you up to become closer to somebody afterwards. So we'd get like closer, and that's how we became best friends, because we fought each other like 3 or 4 times over stupid ass shit. And then we'd talk on the phone afterwards, and we'd apologize to each other, and we'd make up. The very last one, the one that I was just telling you about where I threw the basketball at him, still remember this because it was the dumbest thing ever, but he called me, like I said, we would call each other, and he was apologizing and whatever, and he was like, hey man, I just wanted you to know, when you punched me on the side of my head, I want to say thank you because you popped this pimple that I couldn't get. I could not get that for anything, and when you punched me, you got it.
Oh my gosh.
You're a friend to me.
Right. You got a friend to me, man.
God.
It was the dumbest thing ever, but
Do you ever call you Clarissa after that?
I thought that was the craziest thing. But yeah, man, after all those fights, we got close, and we ended up becoming really good friends. But yeah, we fought over a gel pen. That's ridiculous.
That's crazy.
Ridiculous.
I've never gotten in a fist fight.
Ever.
Nope.
What would happen if you got into a fist fight?
You would tell me to do a lot of exercises. It was bad. And I never wanted to get in that predicament.
Gotcha.
It was terrible. And the worst thing I ever did, if I did get in trouble and I got in the lean and rest position, he would tell me that, get in the lean and rest position.
Mm-hmm.
And dumbest move I ever did. How many do I need to do?
Yeah, you've told me this story.
And my dad goes, until I get tired. I'm like, ugh. I don't get tired. I remember one time I got in trouble for something stupid, and my dad wanted me to, he goes, okay. And I'm about to get ready to do the lean and rest position. He goes, nope. You're doing the Hercules hold. I'm like, what is that? He had 2 big old thick encyclopedia handbooks.
Oof.
He goes, okay, put your arms out. And I put them out in front of me. He goes, no, to your side. I'm like, what? He put one on one hand, one on the other. He would time it. He goes, okay, lift. Now gradually go down slow. And it hurt. It hurt. He goes, okay. Hey, made me learn my lesson.
Right. You got any funny fight stories, Kato?
Oh, he has some brewing. I can tell.
No, yeah. Well, he has never gotten into a fight with another kid. Because I guess I put the fear of
Yeah.
God in him.
And that's good. I mean, like realistically, other than that, I never got in any fights either. And like I said, there was something stupid. And had my parents know. My little brother, on the other hand, though, I'm not trying to throw him under the bus, but before you get into the story, he had kids coming over the house wanting to fight him.
What?
Yeah. And I kid you not, this is my little brother, so I wanted to have his back. But I also wanted him to not have this happen again. So there was this little skinny guy, was maybe a couple inches taller than my brother, but he came over specifically to fight my brother.
Wow.
And he had like 3 friends with him, so I called all my friends, and I was like, we need to have my little brother's back because this kid came all the way from God knows where he lives to fight my little brother.
And was this in North Carolina?
This was in North Carolina.
Okay.
My little brother was probably in like 5th grade when this happened, 4th or 5th grade. So he's still in elementary school. My parents weren't home. And if my mom listens to this, she's probably going to get mad, even though this was like over 10 years ago. She'll get mad like it just happened yesterday. That's just how my mom is. But the same one that called me out with my husky pants back in the day. And, cock blocked me so hard with that girl I was trying to talk to. So this kid came, and he didn't look tough. He was a little taller than my brother, so, in terms of boxing and fighting, he had the reach advantage. My brother, was a little temperamental, so, and, like I said, me and him would get in little fights here and there. So I thought he'd be good, but my little brother had a baby face. So ended up, they got in like a little tussle, and I wanted to let him fight because I didn't want this guy to come around anymore. I thought it was the right decision at the time, and it wasn't, because what ended up happening, the kid punched my brother one time in the eye, and when I see my brother's eye, I was like, oh, heck no, this needs to stop. So I had my brother's back should it get out of hand, but I tried to, let him fight his own battles and then kind of make him a little tougher out of it. He ended up getting a black eye out of it because the guy little kid caught him one good time right here. And his little baby face, it didn't take much, just any little, and he was still fighting, but I was like, no, we gotta stop this because, I wasn't a fighter either, so I didn't realize that's what that was going to be after he got popped. I was just like, why does his eye look like that? Oh, that's going to be a black eye.
Yeah, the crap face, like, oh,
yeah.
crap.
So we stopped it within like a minute of it happening, and my brother wasn't crying or anything. He was ready to keep fighting, but it was
Just the adrenaline in him.
we just needed to stop that because it was gonna get bad. And my brother ended up with the black eye. The kid never came back though. Like that was the end of that. So not the best way to resolve it, but like I said, my little brother was a fighter. He had people coming to the house talking about, I'm here for so and so, and he had his 3 friends, and I'm like, what the hell? hey, Josh, you want to come over, man? We got some stuff we got to handle. People looking for my little brother. So I had the whole crew run up just in case. But after, we stopped that, kid went on his way and left my brother alone. But what ended up transpiring from that, I'll say that real quick. My mom and dad saw my brother's eye, and then they ended up finding about the kid, and then they went to the school, and they turned into principals getting involved and stuff like that.
Ruh-roh.
Yeah. So that kid's parents probably got called and all that stuff. So maybe that's why he never came back, but
Maybe.
but it got handled one way or another. But I don't think my mom knows that I was there and kind of saw the whole fight.
She like, Doom, what are you doing?
Right. Yeah.
Why didn't you tell me?
But yeah, I'll let you finish now with your story.
I never got in a fight.
Oh, really?
No.
That's good. I mean,
I mean, because, and I have to say it back then. I mean,
talking it out's a better way to handle things.
Our neighborhood, my mom and dad had to work, so during kindergarten I walked myself to school in kindergarten. That's unheard of right now.
Yeah,
that's unheard of. I locked the door, and then walked to school. And so, but here's the thing: everybody knew when I was walking to school, they would see me. Okay, and the same thing would be said that if I got in trouble at school, before I even got home, everybody else would give me what for, all the way down to the house. So there would be no way. I wouldn't have just my mom and dad mad at me. I'd have the whole neighborhood. Because that's, you don't do that.
That's just how things were back then, yeah.
Yeah, you don't do that. You don't get into a fight.
Yeah, you didn't want to have, like, as a neighborhood, you didn't want to have troublemakers living next to you either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we did have our troublemakers, but they never started anything with at least me. Of course, back then, everybody knew me from me playing baseball.
Oh, okay.
So, I don't know. I just had to uphold that ideal, I guess, that, I wasn't the recipient of a lot of the fights, but, I had to handle a few.
Yeah.
Roughly. But, it was, getting physical with somebody is not the best thing to do. But usually at the end, I think I did this when people would kids would probably precipitate a fight with me. I'd talk them out of it, so I had the gift of gab.
Yeah.
So,
Peacemaker.
Yeah, that, and, I knew what to say at the time, and then immediately left, ran. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just knew if I got into a fight, I would get in big trouble.
Yeah.
Big trouble. So,
And it's, like I said, it's not a good way to resolve things because, you fight one person this week and you win, they might come back for you next week.
Yeah.
And it's just it's not good.
it's a bad thing to do. Don't fight.
Right.
Yeah.
Just talk it out.
Yeah.
If you can't talk it out, you probably shouldn't be friends with. They're probably a Pablo.
Yeah.
They're probably a Pablo, and you don't want to be friends with them.
Yeah.
Now, if that Pablo's your sibling, then you just need to, figure it out.
Yeah.
Best thing to do is go see a chiropractor.
Right.
Go to your chiropractor. You'll forget about fighting. That's for sure.
All right, guys. From there, we are going to wrap up this episode. 7. We've been having a lot of fun. I want to thank our special guest, our first official special guest in the building, for coming through on this lovely Saturday, summer, hot as hell.
Yeah. What was it like? 98
With rain.
Today?
98 degrees, like the pop band from back in the day. 98 degrees, and it was storming outside. Just a crazy day. I was a little worried y'all were gonna have to reschedule. It sounded very ugly, but I was like, oh, it's calming down. Hopefully everything's good and they can still make it. So appreciate y'all coming through. Had a lot of fun today. Kato, we're definitely gonna have you again. And our setup, I think next time I want to shoot for us to be on video, and we'll have, everything going. I just added this cool sign behind me. I don't know if you saw that earlier.
Oh, yeah,
we
I
just
did.
added that. So I'm eventually going to change those shelves there to like a glass cage, and have some more stuff added in.
We'll try to make sure the green room's a lot cleaner next time.
I won't drop money down there next time. Yeah,
Please don't.
I won't drop any more money. Yeah. Yeah, and this mic stand is a kicker, man.
Right.
Leave the mic stand. That's all I ask.
We're going to upgrade that for you. Don't worry.
Bigger rocks.
Yeah. Maybe a few colors in there. They might not be rocks next time.
Could be a fountain,
But we'll remove the rocks. We'll put coffee in there, and then we'll actually have a stand for you. Just don't slurp during the podcast. But no, we're shooting for video podcasts in the next month or so that'll be nice.
That sounds cool.
Yeah.
I'd like to get on something like that.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. But thanks for coming through. We had a lot of fun.
Oh, it's fun.
We'll do it again soon.
Yeah.
And that's it for you, for us guys. I'll be posting on our Twitter and Instagram with the new episode at Team NSX on Twitter, Team Nostalgia _podcast on Instagram, and on our Facebook as well.
Yeah, I think Kato even asked me. He goes, "Are you guys going to do any special requests if someone asks that?" I'm like, yeah, if they bring it up.
Yeah.
And I think
I've been looking into doing polls. What I did is I just went ahead and created a page for us on Facebook, so we can just start throwing polls in there. And what I'll do is I'll start tagging some of our known listeners, so we can get some feedback towards
definitely
future topics that we can throw in the podcast.
and put some ideas out for some of the.
Yeah, I like to make it a little interactive,
Yeah.
at least for certain segments. So yeah, we got lots of things in the works. We finally got the team gear in, so I'll be posting some pictures on Instagram later this month once we make the official announcement on the team. So check us out. Thanks for listening, guys.
Peace.
Pieces.